Hello, my name is Elias Iosif, and I'm a senior researcher at the University of Nicosia. So, actually, this is a joint presentation along with my colleague Dimitris. So, I'll start the first part, and let me just declare the three basic pillars of this 15 minutes presentation. So, education and blockchain. First of all, as a university, we deliver core established knowledge through teaching. Second, through research implemented in the context of research projects mainly funded by the European Union, we produce new knowledge pushing the boundaries of the state of the art. And third, we use blockchain as a tool at a horizontal basis in order to facilitate all the activities. So let's see how the blockchain can serve a broader vision, starting as a tool for issuing, publishing, authenticating the academic certificates we issue, and serving the broader mission towards the self-sovereign identities. So, in practice, we have used this tool for our students as well as for the students of a number of affiliated universities. And I think that we need to exchange ideas and experiences with colleagues that presented a similar idea previously. And this goes well beyond the issuance and verification of certificates per se. It can be regarded as a tool that can support the self-sovereign identities as well as a facilitator for gaining control over the data. So we need to have the student at the very core of this process controlling his data. And from a technical point of view, we are imagining a general purpose tool that can use as a portfolio of qualifications, etc., making the verification of this qualification along with the digital identity is more easy to be used by the potential employers, giving the opportunity for an easier career path to the student. I think useful to proceed to the second part of the presentation, and I'll pass the floor to my colleague Dimitris. And any questions we can discuss during the 5-minute slot at the end. So, thank you for now. Please, Dimitris.
Thank you, Ilya. Now, I'm here today to talk about a new EU-funded project called DLT for All, meaning Distributed Ledger Technologies for All. But before going into the specifics of the project, it might be useful and perhaps interesting to talk about the initial idea, how the initial idea came about. So let me start with perhaps a very banal, very boring statement that the internet is us. The internet is practically nowadays the core of our everyday living. We make our daily businesses, we meet our friends, we make new friends, we buy and sell stuff, we pay and get paid, we read and make the news when we distribute them to social media. It has been found that the average adult, whatever that means, spends around 6 hours per day online. I think this is very optimistic. I think that this number must be around the double amount. And the reality is that the internet is a very growing place. And it wasn't like this all the time. The internet used to be a very small place for a very small community. They had names for that, the geeks. And that changed very rapidly. You can see the images from 20 years ago, a PC connecting through a modem to internet, a server room somewhere in a university or a company, an internet directory that was the power that created actually Google. It was a competitor of Google Beta at that time, and the Facebook 14 years ago, the Facebook, it was called back then. So these pictures seem very old, but they are not. They are not because the internet and the related technologies presented an unprecedented rate of adoption. The proof of that is that the rate of internet adoption in the United States, plus smartphone usage, social media, smartphones and tablets, outpaces established technologies like the landline. But the higher the adoption gets, the higher the centralization of the internet gets. There is a high correlation, even a causation relationship we don't know yet. It's very early to tell, from adoption to centralization. As a result, we have Google making 40% of total traffic in Asia Pacific, Netflix making 15% of all internet traffic, and 32% of US traffic is made by 5 websites. I think we can assume this is the FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google websites. So it is obvious that the internet centralization is a very, very huge factor of the internet itself. We cannot just throw it away. We cannot just dispass it. And the fact of the matter is that the internet centralization has some unique benefits. Most importantly, it has a unique ability to scale and monetize adoption. The more adoption grows, the more the user base grows, the monetization becomes easier, the centralization grows, new technologies and new features come along, adoption grows, etc. It's almost a self-reinforcing mechanism. Proof for that, we can just see the top 5 publicly traded companies by market capitalization. 2001, one tech company, the green one, Microsoft. 2006, again, one, Microsoft. 2011, one, Apple. 16, all of them. Based on internet centralization, we have free communication services, Gmail, Yahoo, Skype, Messenger, etc. We have new platforms for development, for developing the internet, Android, Amazon, Cloudflare, Google, etc. And of course, we have free internet consumption, which means production and consumption at the same pace. So if internet centralization is so important, why don't we just throw all of it and go for it? Because internet centralization has also some unique, very, very serious drawbacks. I'm not going to talk about privacy security, the echo chamber effect, or the free speech effect. I'm going to talk about the diminishing innovation that internet centralization leads to. Because internet centralization inevitably leads to monopolistic or oligopolistic megastructures, that is, large bureaucracies. And the problem of large bureaucracies is that they lose sight with a user base. As a result, we have an internet which loses its ability, its interest, and its need to disrupt and regenerate itself. Proof for that, the top 5 US cash hoarders, meaning that cash remaining useless, essentially. Apple, Microsoft, billions and billions, Google, billions and billions. I will not go through its huge numbers. As a result, we have too little, too late effect, meaning that services coming out weak without adoption. And I'm not arguing that there is too much failure. I'm arguing that there is too little failure, too limiting risk-taking. On the other side, we have huge shares buyback and acquisition programs, billions from Facebook, Google, Amazon, etc. And of course, the latest acquisitions we all know by large companies. The output is that we have new market scarcity, new internet scarcity. The ability to recreate new markets, new internet, to recreate themselves as they did in their early days when they were startups, falls rapidly. So if centralization has unique benefits on the growing base of internet and has some very, very serious drawbacks on the innovation capabilities of the internet, how do we balance that? And the truth is that we don't know. We do not know yet because it is very, very early phenomenon. It's very important, but it is very new phenomenon. We don't know how to balance between internet centralization while consuming better, innovative, and cheaper services, and we don't know how to balance that with internet decentralization while allowing more adoption, wider audiences, and new players. And this is an important discussion that we must have honestly, openly, without demonizing or evangelizing one another. And if we think that too much internet centralization, this is what I'm arguing for, of course, threatens its own existence because it deprives its necessary capability to recreate itself, then distributed ledger technologies and blockchain must be explored and experimented with. DLT and blockchain is our young gun, the new hope for a more balanced internet, a new order. And this is where DLT for All project comes in. DLT for All project was created by that thought. It's a 3 years project. It has just started. Actually, we're going to have the kickoff meeting in the University of Nicosia, which is the coordinating partner. It has around 1 million euros budget, co-funded by the Erasmus program of the European Union, 9 partners from 5 European countries. And the main objective is to address the lack of understanding of blockchain/DLT technologies and their applications in 4 specific audiences: entrepreneurs, startuppers, students, university students, angel investors, and incubator managers. If we're going to think about and imagine new internets, we have to start training those people that will create them. DLT is very important because it is an untapped market by many European entrepreneurs, angel investors, and incubator managers. And of course, it is currently, with some small exceptions maybe, like the University of Nicosia, an unexplored educational product by European universities. The project brings all these players together to co-design a training program with very specific thematic priorities, deploy online and offline actual classes, provide a foresight exercise for that matter, and many, many more. I will not go into details of these specific things. Let me close this short presentation by a similar way that I started, that the internet is us, and this is not a banal statement. This is a brave statement, because the internet has come to grow into our technological other, a technological companion. It has become a social actor in our daily cyber doings. But we were never asked, and we have never discussed, what kind of internet we would like to have. The Googles, the Ubers, the Facebooks, etc. And we have never voted for it. It was never governed a state plan. I think the time is right to start this discussion. And allow me a touch of irony. We have to start this discussion, but we also keep in mind that radical technological innovation only rarely emerges from open discussions. Thank you very much.